Have you ever noticed how your legs feel different than they used to? Maybe at the end of the day, your feet are a little puffy. Maybe your calves feel heavy when you climb stairs. Maybe you've started sitting down more. Not because you want to, but because standing for too long just isn't as comfortable as it once was. If any of that sounds familiar, I want you to know, you are not alone. And, more importantly, you are not imagining it. As we get older, the way blood moves through our bodies changes. It's one of those quiet shifts that happens gradually, over years, and most of us don't notice it until one day we simply do. And once we notice it, it's natural to wonder, is there anything I can do about this? The answer, I'm glad to say, is yes. There are things you can do. Gentle, everyday things. And today, we're going to talk about 8 foods that research suggests may support healthy blood flow and leg health in people over 60. Before we go any further, I want to be clear, I'm sharing this for educational purposes only. Please speak with your doctor or healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. What I'm sharing today is drawn from published research and the work of nutrition scientists and health professionals. It's not a prescription, and it's not a substitute for the care of someone who knows your full health picture. This video is for people who are curious, for older adults who want to eat a little more intentionally, for caregivers who want to support the people they love, and for anyone who has wondered whether the food on their plate might make a quiet difference in how their body feels day to day. Let me give you a little context first, because I think it helps to understand why blood flow matters so much, especially in the legs, as we age. The circulatory system is remarkable. The heart pumps blood out through arteries, it travels through the body delivering oxygen and nutrients to every cell, and then it returns through the veins. In the legs, this return journey is harder because the blood has to travel back up against gravity. When we're younger, that system tends to work smoothly. But research suggests that as we age, several things change. The walls of our blood vessels can become a little stiffer and less flexible. The valves inside the leg veins, which act like tiny one-way doors keeping blood moving upward, can weaken over time. And circulation overall can slow down, especially in the lower limbs. The result? Many older adults experience cold feet, tired or heavy legs, occasional swelling in the ankles, and sometimes that uncomfortable feeling of leg cramps, particularly at night. None of this is inevitable, and none of it has to define how you feel. The lifestyle choices we make, including what we eat, can genuinely influence how well our circulation functions. Studies have found that certain foods contain compounds that may support the flexibility of blood vessel walls, reduce inflammation, and help blood move more freely. That's what today is about. So let's talk about these 8 foods, not as a strict diet plan, but as an invitation to look at what's already in your kitchen and perhaps make a few gentle, delicious changes. The first food I want to talk about is beets. If beets have never been a regular part of your eating, you might be surprised by how much nutritional interest they've attracted in recent years. Research suggests that beets are rich in natural compounds called nitrates. And before that word puts you off, let me explain what that actually means for your body. When you eat beets, the nitrates they contain are converted in the body into something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a molecule that your blood vessels actually produce naturally, and its job is to help those vessels relax and widen. Studies have found that this widening effect may support healthier blood pressure and better blood flow, particularly in the smaller vessels of the body, including those in the legs. Some research has even looked at whether beet juice might support exercise tolerance in older adults, meaning it may help people feel less fatigued during physical activity. Think of a gentleman in his 70s who loves his morning walk but has been finding it harder to get through it. Something as simple as including more beets in his diet might be worth exploring, alongside a conversation with his doctor, of course. Beets can be roasted, added to salads, blended into smoothies, or eaten simply with a little olive oil and herbs. They're earthy and sweet, and once you find a preparation you enjoy, they're an easy addition to the week. The second food is one most people already love: fatty fish. Salmon, mackerel, sardines, trout. Fatty fish are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, and these are among the most well-studied nutrients when it comes to cardiovascular and circulatory health. Research suggests that omega-3s may help reduce inflammation in the blood vessels, support the flexibility of vessel walls, and may play a role in keeping blood from becoming too sticky or prone to clotting. For older adults, experts often recommend including fatty fish in the diet 2 or 3 times a week. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Tinned sardines on whole grain toast, a simple baked piece of salmon with vegetables. These are gentle, nourishing meals that many people find easy to prepare and genuinely enjoyable to eat. If fish isn't something you enjoy or have access to regularly, it's worth asking your doctor about whether omega-3 options might be appropriate for your situation. The third food is one that has probably been sitting in your fruit bowl or your refrigerator without you realizing quite how valuable it is. Berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, all of them contain a group of compounds called flavonoids. Studies have found that flavonoids may support the health of the blood vessel walls, may help reduce oxidative stress, which is a kind of internal cellular wear, and may support healthy circulation. Research from several large studies has found that people who regularly eat berries tend to show markers of better cardiovascular health compared to those who rarely eat them. And one of the things researchers find particularly interesting is that even modest, regular amounts seem to make a difference. You don't need to eat a mountain of berries every day. A small handful with breakfast, or stirred into yogurt, or simply eaten as an afternoon snack. That kind of gentle, consistent habit is what the research tends to support. Frozen berries are just as nutritious as fresh ones, and often more affordable and accessible, especially in seasons when fresh berries aren't available. This is a small but genuinely useful thing to know, because cost and convenience matter, and good nutrition shouldn't feel out of reach. The fourth food is garlic, and this one has a wonderfully long history. Garlic has been used in cooking and traditional medicine across cultures for thousands of years, and modern research has taken considerable interest in understanding why. Studies have found that garlic contains compounds, particularly one called allicin, which is released when garlic is crushed or chopped, that may support healthy blood pressure and may have a beneficial effect on how freely blood flows through the vessels. Some research suggests garlic may also help with what scientists call platelet aggregation, which simply means it may support blood remaining at a healthy viscosity, not too thick. For circulation, that matters. Cooking with garlic is one of the simplest pleasures of the kitchen. It adds flavor to almost everything: soups, vegetables, grains, sauces. And it's an ingredient that fits naturally into the kind of Mediterranean-influenced eating that health researchers consistently point to as supportive of cardiovascular wellness. Let's talk about the fifth food, and this one might surprise you a little: dark, leafy greens. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, collard greens. We often think of these as general health foods, but there's a specific reason they're on this list today. Dark leafy greens are another source of those dietary nitrates we talked about with beets. Research suggests they support the production of nitric oxide in the body, which, as we discussed, helps blood vessels relax and widen, supporting better flow. They're also rich in magnesium, a mineral that studies have found plays a role in supporting healthy muscle function, including the muscles of the blood vessel walls. Many older adults are mildly deficient in magnesium without knowing it, and something as simple as eating more greens can be one gentle way to address that. A warm bowl of lightly sautéed spinach with olive oil and a little garlic. A simple kale soup, Swiss chard wilted into scrambled eggs. These are not complicated meals. They're quiet, nourishing things that fit into ordinary days without drama. The sixth food is walnuts. Of all the nuts, walnuts have received particular attention from researchers interested in heart and circulation health. Studies have found that walnuts are rich in a plant-based form of omega-3 fatty acid called ALA, alpha-linolenic acid. They also contain L-arginine, an amino acid that the body uses to produce nitric oxide. Research suggests that regularly eating a small amount of walnuts, and we're talking about a modest handful, not a large quantity, may be associated with better blood vessel function and markers of cardiovascular health. Experts note that walnuts also contain antioxidants and compounds that may support healthy inflammation levels in the body. A small handful of walnuts as a mid-morning snack, or sprinkled over a salad, or stirred into oatmeal. That's the kind of gentle, consistent inclusion that research tends to point toward as meaningful. The seventh food is one with a beautiful simplicity to it: oranges and citrus fruits more broadly, grapefruits, lemons, mandarins. Citrus fruits are rich in vitamin C and in a group of flavonoids that researchers have been studying for their potential effects on blood vessel health. Some studies have found that regular citrus consumption may be associated with better capillary strength. Capillaries are the tiny, delicate blood vessels that reach the most distant parts of the body, including the feet and toes, and better overall circulation. Vitamin C also plays a role in the production of collagen, which is an important structural protein in blood vessel walls. As we age, collagen production naturally slows. Supporting it through diet, through foods like citrus, is something experts consistently recommend as part of a heart and circulation-friendly way of eating. There's also something to be said for the simple pleasure of an orange, the smell of the peel, the sweetness of the flesh. Food that nourishes and that also brings a moment of sensory joy. That's a kind of wellness in itself. The eighth and final food on our list today is one that belongs in a completely different category. Not a fruit or vegetable, but a drink: green tea. Research into green tea has grown substantially over the past 2 decades, and some of the findings related to circulation are genuinely interesting. Green tea contains compounds called catechins, a type of antioxidant that studies suggest may support the health and flexibility of blood vessel walls, may help reduce oxidative stress and may have a modest beneficial effect on blood pressure. Studies have found that people who regularly drink green tea, even just 1 or 2 cups a day, tend to show certain markers of cardiovascular health that are favorable compared to those who don't. Researchers are careful to note that green tea is not a cure for anything, but as part of a broader, balanced approach to eating and living well, it's a gentle and pleasurable addition. For older adults who enjoy hot drinks, replacing 1 cup of coffee a day with green tea, or simply adding a cup of green tea to your afternoon routine, is the kind of small, sustainable change that fits naturally into daily life. Now, I want to bring all of this together in a way that feels practical and grounded, because information is only useful if it connects to real life. You don't need to eat all 8 of these foods every day. You don't need to overhaul your kitchen or follow a complicated plan. What research consistently points toward is that it's the overall pattern of eating, day after day, week after week, that matters most. A few gentle additions over time, consistently maintained, tend to do far more good than dramatic short-term changes. Think about what you already eat and enjoy. Maybe berries are already a part of your morning. Maybe you cook with garlic regularly. Maybe you've always liked salmon but haven't had it in a while. The goal isn't to start from scratch, it's to look at what's already there and see where you might quietly add a little more of the things research suggests are supportive. If you have a doctor's appointment coming up, I want to encourage you to bring this conversation there. Ask about your circulation. Ask if there are any dietary approaches your doctor thinks might be worth exploring for your specific situation. Ask whether any of these foods might interact with medications you take, because some foods, including garlic and certain citrus fruits, can interact with specific medications, and your doctor or pharmacist is the right person to help you navigate that. These questions aren't a fuss. They're exactly the kind of engaged, thoughtful participation in your own health that doctors genuinely appreciate seeing. Beyond food, it's worth mentioning a few other things that research consistently supports for leg circulation and overall blood flow in older adults. Movement matters enormously, even gentle movement. Studies have found that walking, even short, slow walks, activates the calf muscles in a way that helps pump blood back up through the leg veins. If walking is difficult, seated leg exercises, simply flexing and extending the feet, raising the heels, circling the ankles, can make a real difference in keeping blood moving. Staying well hydrated is another often overlooked factor. When we're even mildly dehydrated, blood becomes slightly more concentrated and can flow less easily. Many older adults find they don't feel thirsty the way they used to, which means hydration requires a little more conscious attention. A simple goal is to aim for pale, straw-colored urine as a general guide, though your doctor can give you more specific guidance based on your health. Sitting for long periods is something worth being mindful of. When we sit for hours without moving, blood tends to pool in the lower legs. If you spend a lot of time in a chair, consider setting a gentle reminder to stand up or move your legs for a few minutes every hour. It doesn't take much, just enough to get things moving again. And if you notice persistent swelling in your legs or feet, pain in the calves, or any changes in the color or temperature of your legs, please don't wait to mention these to your doctor. These can be signs of things that deserve professional attention, and early conversations are always better than delayed ones. I want to close today with something I feel is worth saying clearly and warmly. The fact that you're here, that you're watching this, learning, asking questions about your body, that matters. It genuinely matters. There is a kind of courage in aging well, not the dramatic headline-grabbing kind of courage, but the quiet, daily kind. The courage to keep paying attention, to keep asking questions, to keep making small choices that support your body, even when your body isn't doing everything it used to do. I've spoken with many older adults over the years who felt, somewhere along the way, that their health wasn't really theirs to influence anymore, that they were simply along for the ride. And what I've seen, again and again, is that this isn't true. The body responds. Maybe not in the dramatic ways it did at 30, but it responds to kindness, to nourishment, to movement, to rest, to connection. A small handful of walnuts in the morning, a cup of green tea in the afternoon, a walk around the garden, even a short one, a bowl of berries with breakfast. These are not grand gestures. They are quiet acts of care, for yourself, for your body, for the people who love you and want you around for as long as possible. The legs that feel heavy at the end of the day have carried you through a life, through work and family and seasons and years. They deserve to be cared for, gently, patiently, without judgment about what they can and can't do right now. And you deserve to feel as well as possible for as long as possible. That is not too much to ask. That is simply what you deserve. If something in today's conversation resonated with you, if one of these foods sparked a memory, or reminded you of something your grandmother used to cook, or gave you an idea you'd like to try, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Your stories and experiences mean more than you might think, and this community of people looking out for themselves and each other is a genuinely beautiful thing. If you have someone in your life, a parent, a sibling, a dear friend, who you think might benefit from this conversation. Please share this video with them. Sometimes a small nudge is all it takes to start a new habit, or to have an important conversation with a doctor. And most importantly, please take the questions this raised about your own circulation, your own leg health, your own diet, to your doctor. They know your full picture. They can help you make choices that are right for you specifically, not just for people in general. Take care of your legs, take care of your heart, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.